everyone, and welcome to Drunken Confessions, episode 67. Woo! Thanks for joining us. Woohoo! Today we have, once again, our host, Amy.
Hello.
I'm your spirit guide, Cass. I don't think that needs introduction, but if you're new here, just in case, you know. Then we have Amy's man meat, Jeremy.
Hello.
And our enabler, Dave.
How are you?
How's everyone doing today?
I just living La Vida Loca. Technology is just,
I'm your spirit guide.
technology is just sucking eggs, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, you're having issues today, aren't you, Dave?
I mean, everything was all fine and dandy, and like literally, like everything was working. I did a show at noon. Our friends at the Nooner show came back today, and so they did a show at noon, and this exact setup, this exact whole thing worked perfectly fine. And then somewhere between noon and 7 p.m. shit broke. Like what? Why? Like why would you do that to me? That's just rude. So either, and I'm going with, it's Facebook's fault, because it's Facebook's the one that looks like they've changed shit. And yeah, so
well,
cheers.
Cheers. And fun fact, this thing holds an entire bottle of wine.
Excellent.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I was very happy to see that. So how was your week then, Amy?
It's been a week. I think the full moon is taking effect.
When is the full moon?
I don't, if it wasn't last night, it's tonight or
probably, or tonight.
Okay. I'll have to look.
Right.
But we got our new microphone. I got my new microphone. So
yeah, we can hear both of you now.
I know, it's amazing.
It took a little bit for me to figure out how to set this thing up, but I got it.
Cool.
Look at you all tech savvy.
So I guess the important question, has everybody binged the final season of Lucifer?
Yes.
No.
Oh, shame.
I've heard Lucifer keeps getting better and better with each season.
Dude,
Yes.
it is such a good show. It is hands down, like it is. So I liked it when it was on Fox. I have loved it since they moved to Netflix, and I was like super afraid. Like that was one of those things where I was like, oh, like Netflix is gonna pick it up for a season, and they're gonna run it into the ground, and it's gonna suck. Nah, like the writing, the effects, the everything got so much better when they moved to Netflix. And it's just been outstanding.
Yeah, I just started watching it when I've been out at work since my surgery, and I watched all of it. So
It's well, and so like that's the thing, and so like what got released last Friday was just the first half of season 5. They dropped 8 episodes because apparently they still had 3 days, I believe, left to film for the final episodes when everything got all shut down. And so yeah, there's like, so now like apparently Tom Ellis is being a big old giant dick tease and saying they might be out as early as like maybe around Christmas time. Those last 8 episodes, maybe early January, or at least another bat. Like maybe they'll get
You sure do know a lot about Lucifer.
Dude, it's a great show, and dude, it's like so Lucifer now is like what Star Wars was to me in like the late 90s. Like I'm on message boards arguing with people, except now I'm in Facebook groups arguing with people about it. I read all of the news stories about it. I'm all about it. It is such a good show.
We'll have to check.
But that paled in.
I gave up on it when it was on, like before Netflix took it over. I gave up on it like season 2, and that was like years ago, like before it was on Netflix. And I'm still trying to get finish Ozark, so I don't watch.
Oh, understandable.
Love Ozark.
Yeah, that's taken over because I binge watched that Cobra Kai, so.
See, and that's, we were actually talking about this the other night on our show. Like it's hilarious. Like, so we've been talking about Cobra Kai for like 2 years now, because it was a YouTube premium show, and it was so friggin' good. And then YouTube decided they were getting out of the original programming space, and so they put it out for bid. And there was this whole bidding war as far as like who, was it going to be Netflix or Hulu that got it? Netflix got it. And then like all the news stories came out that, the quote unquote Netflix effect because so Lucifer shattered, I guess, all the world records for like a season premiere, a series premiere, all that kind of stuff. But Cobra Kai just like went
Yeah, they
nuts.
just went #1.
Yep. Well, and
for
so
Netflix.
Oh wow.
oh yeah, and so and that's the thing. So and
Yeah.
there's so it's the 2 seasons, and so this is what pisses me off about Cobra Kai, is they announced back in April that season 3 is done. Like they had the wrap party and everything before COVID hit and shut everything down, and yet we're still not going to get it now until 2021, and that just pisses me off.
They leave you hanging. Good
Because
old
that's another great series that I love.
All right, so
Oh,
that's how great the microphone is.
Yeah, picks up the dogs really well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do. Was that too loud?
No.
No.
Let's do a drunken confession.
When's the last
okay.
time you invited somebody random to your house?
Shut up, Dave.
Well, if you think we're not talking about Saturday, you're out of your mind.
We're not talking about Saturday, so I must be crazy. What is your go-to shot that you order at the bar? Mine is Jaeger bomb all the way.
or straight Jaeger.
If I'm in Hamtramck, it's Yeji. That's just how it goes.
That's so gross.
If I'm anywhere else and I'm doing shots, honestly, it depends. Like Temple Bar, Larry makes this phenomenal little like root. It's
Yeah.
Miller High Life and root beer schnapps.
Really good.
And it tastes like a root beer float, and it's phenomenal. But like
Yeah.
he's the only one that does that. Like that's not something. But if you're a Temple Bar, that's what you get there. Anywhere else I'm doing shots, yeah, I'm gonna see if they have a good pickleback.
I like picklebacks.
What about you,
I-
Cass?
I used to be Oatmeal Cookie. No matter where I went, I always got Oatmeal Cookies. As a matter of fact, when I was a little while back, a bar I used to go to all the time, that's what they nicknamed me, is
Isn't
Oatmeal
that
Cookie.
Isn't that like a milky, like one of those milky, like?
Yeah, it has I just went blank. It has Bailey's.
Like Kahlua or Bailey's, yeah.
It has Bailey's. It has butter shots and some other stuff. So it's really good though. But I like the bomb pops.
Yeah,
Those
those
Which
are
is just the red, white, and blue vodka now.
But it's good. Tastes like a bomb pop.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Your stereotypical oatmeal cookie. I want to say it's like an Irish cream, so like Bailey's typically.
Bailey's.
And then
Butter
you've got
shots.
a cinnamon, and then you've got a butter.
Like, that's what I forgot. Cinnamon. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So,
So
it's
butter
like
shots and then like hot damn or cinnamon
hot damn
shots.
or something like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I usually would get. What about
And
you,
then-
Jeremy? You just doing Jaeger?
Yeah, I usually just do straight Jaeger when I'm at a bar or a restaurant or something.
Very
I'll
cool.
I'll do the Jaeger bombs too, but a lot of times
Yeah.
just give me Jaeger. If everybody's just doing a shot, I'll drink it straight.
Very cool. So tonight we're continuing our Drunken Convention sex ed.
So explain to me why we're not talking about Saturday.
Because Amy's gonna kill you if we do, Dave. I have a feeling.
So, okay, since you keep bringing it up, another confession time. Amy got super wasted, started to drink at 11:30 with all of these crazy people. I didn't eat. I drank all day
Partied all night.
and probably made an ass out of myself.
Not even close.
By the time the sun went down or like was fading, so was I. Like only bits and pieces I remember. And
So this is the beauty of random conversations with people is sitting out on the front porch of a cigar and martini bar, and there were two black folks, black couple that were at the table next to us, and just sparking up random conversations because like we were talking about stuff. And I think it was the guy who said, you could just talk up a little louder and we could join you. And I was like, all right. So I spun my chair around and there we were. And the conversation within the span of 10 minutes went from politics, Black Lives Matter, the Electoral College, and then I made some smart-ass comment about tying people up, and apparently that sparked something in the two of them, and the next hour and a half was nothing but BDSM.
I missed all this because I was there for the morning shenanigans, drank some Bloody Mary, had a snack, and puttered out quite quickly and went home and took a nap for several hours.
That's what I should have done.
So I missed all the fun stuff. So, all right. So then after all that, how did the whole invite thing happen?
It was drunk Amy being drunk Amy, didn't want the party to end, but wanted to go home. So I was like, you guys all can come back to my house and play pool. Like,
Meanwhile,
Gotcha.
I'm looking at her like, I don't think you understand what it means if you invite these two back to your house right now.
yeah, I
I
wasn't putting the two together. It's epic fail on Amy, and I feel like a complete and utter ass about it.
Not at all.
And I love that Dave keeps bringing it up.
But you have to understand, like, I'm not bringing it up because you should feel like an ass, because you shouldn't. I'm bringing it up because that was, like, honestly, like, that's, so everybody talks about, like, you know, what, hey, remember, you know, bars and remember this and remember concerts and all that stuff. Dude, I miss those random, phenomenal conversations with people at bars.
Right.
And to me, like, that was hands down, like, I mean, that was one of the best conversations I've had with somebody in 6 months, you know, because of all this nonsense, because it was, you know, and you know, we talked about owning a business, and we talked about, you know, this, and, you know, the right versus the left, and how it really doesn't matter, and conservative versus liberal, and how it really doesn't matter.
And there
all,
was
you
no
know,
arguing. It was a good conversation back and forth.
yeah,
no
it was phenomenal.
arguments, no heated. It was always laughing, joking, but having it, like, it was pretty cool for what I can remember of it. And then I was scrolling through my pictures the following day, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that part. Like, we sat for a while and played What Do You Meme at Wyandotte Brewery.
Trying to avoid the bees, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time.
Good.
Good times to be had.
Sorry I missed it, but yeah.
See? And so that's all it is. See, that I made no mention of you being drunk whatsoever. That was not the focal point of that story.
We had to say that Amy was drunk and not just Amy invites randos to her house.
Oh, well, I mean, if you needed to rationalize that, cool.
Yeah.
The funny part is it was completely random just to ask them over, but because of where we were at in conversations, what was implied is totally different.
Oh, and like I said, homegirl had no idea what she was asking when she was saying, hey, come back to my house.
Wow. Sorry I missed it. That would have been great. So on that note, on to our...
I will say this,
up with drunk Amy.
Hey, the saving grace there was they had other plans. Because otherwise, I'm pretty sure
things could have been interesting that night.
That's like scratching shit off of your bucket list.
Oh, Lord. Okay, anyway, so...
Dear Penthouse Forum, comment. I never thought it would happen to me.
I really feel like I need some Jaeger right about now.
That actually might go with what part of my question. So I have what I did was I came up with some of the more popular questions people ask on the internet about sex. And I thought we could answer them for people.
Perfect.
You can try.
All right. So let's jump right in. And then after we're done with this, Amy has her own things that she discovered.
Well, wait. So I completely sidetracked her from, she was going to do a drunken confession, and I sidetracked her.
Oh, no, she said she was confessing to...
That was my drunken confession.
That was her drunken confession, was inviting people, strange people over her house, so she doesn't know.
Yeah, so we're continuing with the sex education brought to you by Drunken Confessions, because we think that people need to be aware, especially in this day and age when a lot of the dating is over apps and not meeting people at a bar. Not everybody can be as lucky as Jeremy and I, go to a bar and fall in love and happily ever after.
I absolutely, I love that Bob tells the story that he met his wife, Bo, at quarter beer night at the Hayloft. Like that he loves telling that story.
Quarter beer night?
Well, I mean, dude, they've been together for like 18 years. So
Yeah.
Like, when the
Hey.
hell is it a quarter?
Hey, he's like,
So
she's
when
a
you're
cheap
starting
date. I'm marrying her.
So when you're starting to date, Cass, or what are your questions? I think it has to do with when you start to date people or something.
I have one that we'll start off with that one. So when you're in a new relationship and you're just starting to date somebody, when is it acceptable to fall asleep after sex? You know, how much cuddle time should you have before you just kind of like do the, okay, that was great, roll over, go to bed?
Are you at your house or their house?
Does it matter? We're talking a new partner, Dave. You have to be attentive no matter whose house you're at when you have a new partner.
It depends on how much you drank.
Definitely. Alcohol should be.
How good the sex was. I mean, there's factors you got to take in there. If it was really good sex, everyone's exhausted.
Right. Right.
So, sure, fall asleep.
Or you might not go back, so it's a one-night stand.
Which leads me to my second question. Which is, what is your best course of action when running into a one-night stand in a public setting? So you sleep with somebody one time, and then say 3 weeks later, you run into them at Myers.
What are
You-
those?
What do you greet them? Do you pretend like you don't recognize them? What do you do with a one-night stand?
I mean, you should never pretend you don't recognize them. I mean, that just makes you look like a whore. Like
Yeah,
that.
that's rude. It's rude, and it says something about you. And
Well, I mean, and I guess honestly, like, and again, kind of like Amy was saying before, I mean, I guess that's a little bit situational. Like, was it a mutually agreed upon one night stand? Like, was it a, hey, you went back to her place, and then, oh, I've got a meeting in the morning, and I gotta go, and then just never called, never returned text, never. So I mean, yeah.
I think I would personally, because I'm me, I don't like rejection, so I'm gonna try to make eye contact and smile.
I'd be like, hey.
If they act like they don't know me, then that's a different thing. If they react, then I'm going to be like, hey, how's it going? And then just kind of continue on and just see where it goes from there. I'm not going to press anything. But I
It also depends on how good it was, too.
Well,
You might be like, hey, good game, buddy. I mean.
Well, the next time you see them,
That's right. Good game. Good game. Good game. Good game.
Are you with a spouse and see them? You know.
Well, if you're talking like down the road, not
or
like
you just
cheating.
walking down the sidewalk.
No, we're not talking about cheating on this show. We don't talk about cheating. Not if you want to live till tomorrow, Jeremy. Do you want to ever talk about cheating?
I don't know where
on
you've
this
been.
show?
We've talked about cheating a lot on this show, so I don't know
Actually,
what you're talking about, Cass.
Yeah.
We just don't encourage it.
Oh, God, no. All right, next question. Speaking of marriage, why do married people get hit on more than single people?
Because you want what you can't have. It's a challenge to a lot of people, I think.
Well, not only that, but I think it's the perception of, oh, well, somebody else has that, so it must be worth having, therefore I want it.
Right. That's kind of what I think. I think if you're, when somebody's older and single, you're like, wonder what the hell's wrong with that person. That kind of thing. You're like, oh, I bet that's just a bucket
Oh,
wrong.
you're broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody didn't want you.
Right. That, and I also think there's a certain amount of safety with a married person. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about, too many feels getting involved and stuff like that too.
Oh no, for real. Like there is a we haven't talked in forever. Now that I'm thinking about it, but there was a friend of mine. She would only date married men.
This is a friend.
No, literally, we were. No, I can say this with a straight face. We were literally just friends. But she would only date married men, and we talked about it one night, and that was the reason why. She didn't want to get involved in a relationship. She didn't want like anybody catching feelings or any of that kind of crap. And so she would deliberately put herself in situations where that wasn't a possibility. And to her, that was just, I mean, that was her version of normal and acceptable behavior.
Yeah. I know a few people that would only date married men.
Well, I hope none of those people are around my husband because I got a problem.
I'll start a group chat later, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Okay, next.
Hey, Dave, which way you got to swipe, left or right?
Okay, next question. What's the best way if your wife says that the bedroom's getting kind of boring? What's the best way to spice it up without scaring her? Like, you're not just going to come home with a bag of whips.
Can this be with wife or husband?
Yes.
You got to start out small. Maybe a little whip before you bring, like, the cat of nine tails out that'll blister the skin.
Well, no, and so and laughably this was
toy. Make it a small toy, not like something that's 19 inches long and 3 inches wide. And
so you're going to bring home King Dong.
No, yeah, definitely not.
But no, I mean, so laughably this was part of the conversation on Saturday, where that like it's the conversation with people that are interested in getting involved in BDSM and that kind of stuff. Because part of the issue is everybody went out and watched 50 Shades of Grey. And then a bunch of dudes named Chad went out and bought a riding crop on Amazon and started calling themselves a dom. Honestly, I think the most important part is, okay, what does that, like, it's the conversation. What does that mean to you? Like, so if it's stale, what do you want to see happen here? Because like, to me, like, so I'm one of those people that like, I've always been it's the Sam Kinison motif. Make her come twice before she's even sure you have a dick. So it's always been about, okay, let's make sure you're getting what you need out of this. And so yeah, I mean that should be that conversation that says, okay, if you're feeling unfulfilled and you feel like things are getting stale, what do you think would bring some excitement into this? And then I can take that information. And yeah, it may be a riding crop off Amazon. It might be, whatever. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think number one, you need to have a conversation with your partner if things are getting boring, because if you think that they're boring, most likely your partner thinks that they're boring. But somebody has to have the balls to bring it up. Second of all, the best advice is to ask your friends to pick out Amazon or anniversary presents for each other.
That's
and
great.
things will get interesting real quick.
That's great. See, now I was just going to say something like, hey, try going down on them in the kitchen while they're doing dishes.
Sorry, just
something fun. Just try
to tear my rotator cuff, patting myself on the back there. I'm just going to.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
people just need to be a little more spontaneous.
If this is your first time tuning in and you guys don't get that joke, on a previous episode for our anniversary, we had our friends here on podcast. Dave had to pick out a present for me to give Jeremy. Cass had to pick out a present for Jeremy to give to me. And then Stephanie, who's not with us tonight, was the judge of who did best. And Dave and I won. And I still think we're winning.
We were close. We were in second place.
All right, next question. Speaking of what was bought, what is the acceptable line between a fetish or something you should seek treatment for? Dave's like, anything goes.
No, and honestly, there isn't one because
places for people.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's like that's kind of a loaded question because
not necessarily, because I mean, think about it. Okay, so I like BDSM, but what if I think it would be really a turn on if I cut somebody's finger off? That I would think you would need treatment for.
Hey, if you're in the Yakuza, that's a thing.
Let's say for us personally, like, because we all know on this podcast, we have different levels of what would make somebody crazy. Like, something I think you need help for, you two might be like,
that's a Tuesday.
Normal. So
Well,
let's
and-
talk about your own personal life. What is your like? That's over the top. I'm out.
I mean, honestly, like the only thing that I can truly say that would be like, hey, you need help is probably pedophilia. Like that's
Oh, God,
like
yeah.
there's nothing, there's no way, shape, or form that you should be doing anything involving kids. Like that
Okay,
that just is what it is.
Well,
I
yeah.
wasn't gonna go that dark. I
Oh.
thought that was a given.
Yeah, I'd have to
I
draw
wasn't
the
gonna
line
go that dark
before
either,
that.
but-
Hey, I wanted to clarify because I said anything, and I'm like, well,
Okay.
but
Okay, so see, I thought that was a given. However, last week I learned on Sex Ed Part 1, I learned what water sports were, and it's not jet skiing. So I'm saying water sports is my line.
well, okay, but here's the difference. That's a line, so it's something you're not interested in.
No,
but is that
but if my current partner asked me to do that, I'd be like, you need help. You know.
oh, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
I ain't judging other people. I'm just like,
Well, that's kind of where I was going with my statement is like odds are good. Like no matter how weird you think the thing that you're into is, odds are good there's somebody else out there that's into that same thing. It's that, I mean, that's just life, and
Yeah.
the good touch and the bad touch of the internet is that it's easier for you to find people that are into the same things that you're into. Whether it's
Oh, for sure.
Cass, what's your line? What is your batshit crazy?
Anything that involves intentionally hurting another person without their permission.
Oh, that's yeah.
oh, see, to me that's not even sex, that's rape.
Yep.
No, I'm talking about fetishes. To some people, that's what their fetish is. Fetish is something that pretty much is sexually arousing to you.
I get it. So, but I look at it in the context of, I guess I was looking at it in the context of a fetish as a couple, or a fetish as in something that you're already doing with something else or with
Right.
somebody else.
No, it wouldn't be like me wanting to hold a pillow over my husband's head for an extended period.
Is that your personal fetish you got
I mean,
going right now, Cass?
that's not a fetish. That's a recurring dream. That's
Yeah, I'm like, that's.
Well,
I don't know.
the idea is to figure out what your partner will accept.
well, and that gets back to.
I'd recommend watching porn with them and just try different categories, and you can see different reactions from each other too.
Yeah.
Well, and that gets back to the whole conversation aspect. Like, just have and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
I think this question was more directed as to a person going, okay, at what point should I be a little worried that this is where my mind's going? That's kind of how I read into it.
I mean, like there are some very and we talked about edge play, last week, and so like there are some things that are hard nose, in a lot of people's world.
Right.
There are some people that are not. God, you do anything that involves like breath play, for example.
Or anal.
Yeah, it's like it's things that that hit that boundary and hit that edge of what people consider to be normal. But and I think, God, I want to say it was like, I think I was still living in DC when I had this conversation with somebody, where we are so bizarre as a society because the shit that we're willing to do about in private, the shit that we're willing to do in private versus the shit we're willing to talk about doing in public is night and day. Like it's like they're like you could see some people. I mean, God, for the love of God, like just last week, the whole story about Jerry Falwell and his wife. The Christian leading the churches, leading the organizations, and yet he likes to sit there and watch his wife get banged by the pool boy. And here's the thing: if you just were open. If you were just open about that part of your life, nobody would care.
Well, this is part of the reason why, not that particular reason, but this is kind of the mind thought that Cass and I had when we started Drunken Confessions over a year ago, was that we only get comfortable talking about certain things when we're drinking.
Yep.
And why is that? So honestly, it's helped me a lot because I got comfortable because I was drinking. I started confessing things, but now that it's a podcast, it's out there. It's built up my confidence to talk about it on a regular.
For sure.
And you may not remember, but that was a huge part of the conversation Saturday.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh no! So and this was part of
Okay.
it is because you were so shy and so withdrawn from the conversation. But then the guy, and I can't remember his name, and I feel bad about that.
Did
Said,
we ever
"Oh,
get their names?
I think it was Tommy.
oh no!"
Tommy?
Like I said, he shot me a friend request and a LinkedIn request within like 6 hours.
Nice.
But but it was him, and he was like, "Well, but you talk about this stuff behind a mic all the time." And you were like, yeah, I do, because I'm more, because, and it was okay. Well, why are you comfortable sitting on a Zoom screen or sitting behind a microphone when like, and that's when I was saying it's the perception, because the perception is you're just sitting here talking with Jeremy and Cass and me and staff, apparently, from when
Yeah,
she's
I'm
here,
talking to my close
right?
friends, and I'm
Regardless
not getting
of
the facial reactions of strangers.
right, regardless of the fact that this is going live out on Facebook, this is
Yeah.
getting broadcast out, syndicated out after the fact and all that stuff. But it's the perception that it's just this that makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like a firewall, basically.
Yeah. There's a disassociation that happens when you're doing it like this, as opposed to actually talking to somebody you don't know.
Right.
Which
Oh.
okay, so before we do another Drunken Confessions, I want to give a shout out to Joey. Thanks for tuning in for the first time. We appreciate it. But now it's time for a Drunken Confession. Have you ever faked knowledge on a topic to make yourself look more interesting?
Yes.
Mine is a yes. It's definite yes.
Faked knowledge? No.
Yeah, like you thought you knew what you were talking about.
I faked
Kind of
interest.
BS'd a little bit.
Yeah, BS'd. You bet.
I've
BS'd
faked
yourself.
interest, but not knowledge.
Yeah, it's like you can sound and look extremely knowledgeable to having a conversation with something on a subject you know nothing about, but because you're asking them questions and making comments about what they said, they will carry the conversation and think you was the best person they've ever talked to.
Oh well, and that's the thing. Like, dude, I'm the first person to like throw my hand up and be like, dude, I don't know shit about whatever the hell we're talking about. So I have, I'm the one that will say, hey, explain it like I'm 5. I'm the one that will say, hey, like I am in over my head. Like let's break it. Like let's take 2 Mother May I steps back in the conversation so I can, and then we'll go forward. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I've totally bullshitted my way through a conversation, especially if somebody starts talking sports. Now I understand sports, but I don't know any players.
No, I'm sorry. This is Cass BSing through sports when I'm talking about hockey.
Well, no, I know the game. I know the game. I know how hockey's played. I know how football's played. I know how all the sports are played. Well, maybe not lacrosse or something like that, but when somebody starts talking about players or something like that,
No, I see, and that's when I just go, I don't care. You know.
Yeah.
So there's a group chat I'm in with a couple of friends, and like through the week, it's hilarious, and we're sharing memes, and it's a ton of fun, and yada yada yada. And then like Friday, Saturday, Sunday hits, and like wrestling comes on television, and that group chat turns into that. And I'm just like, guys, I'm gonna mute you for the next 4 hours. Like I love you all, but I'm not getting all these notifications. I'm not like I give no shit. Or like every now and then I'll chime in and like they'll say something that I can make a pun off of or whatever. Like and then I'll do that. But no, like it's
but I think this was more in the setting of like, so you're out somewhere and a hot looking person comes up, sits next to you and starts talking about something and you're like, oh yeah, acting like you know exactly what they're talking about.
I'm sure I did in my 20s. I
think we've all done it where we've been like, oh sure yeah. Know all about that. Just to try and make yourself a little more approachable. So next week, Amy came up with her own list of stuff that she was looking into
to help educate sex education. And
at least that's what she says. But she was on Tinder.
No, I was not on Tinder. No, but Tinder because I googled
for
that.
Your husband would react.
purposes.
No, I saw the history.
No,
I told her. I said, Amy, if Jeremy ever sees the history on your computer, he's gonna be like,
Well, it's funny. I was nervous about it. I went and I confessed to him last night, and I was like, because I Googled these subjects, now all is coming up on my Facebook feed is like Tinder apps and Match.com and all this other stuff.
Right.
However, I was surprised for some of the lingo in this day and age. I hate to admit it, but I'm getting older, and people on Facebook will say certain like words that I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like
these kids today and their lingo.
I know, and I'm going, damn, when did that happen? I got so old so quick.
You have to Google. Sometimes I've Googled stuff.
Well, I have nieces that I'm comfortable with just asking them, like, what does this mean? So, but
that's a fire. Where's the fire?
Yeah. So like a lot of them were obvious. Like the first one was ghosting, which I think we all know what ghosting is when you're talking to somebody and then you stop talking and you're ignoring them. So you're a ghost.
See, and I've had this conversation with the reasons why I'm single girls a lot. Like I truly believe that is a byproduct of where we are as a society today. Like we have trained an entire generation now to basically say, you don't have to have the uncomfortable conversations. You don't need to just duck out of it and don't worry about it and it's no big deal.
Never contact them again.
And that's shitty.
This next one I was kind of surprised actually exists. It makes sense, but I never thought about it before. It's called textlationship. So it's basically you're having only a relationship through texting or social media. You'll never meet in person, but you're committed to somebody through texting, which, I mean, it makes sense, but it blows my mind that people do that.
Oh yeah, that was big in the late '90s and early 2000s.
I was just gonna say back in the BBS message board days, that made that made so much sense to me.
AIM was still in QChat.
Oh yeah, dude, that was a big thing back then. And it's weird. Like, I mean, I get it. So I mean, like from that perspective, I get it and understand it. Yeah.
So do you guys know what cuffing season is?
Yeah,
Cuffing season?
Yeah, cuffing season. It has
Basically,
nothing to do with handcuffs.
No, it's a period of time when a lot of people just wind up like getting engaged, getting married, that kind of stuff.
It's like the term for winter months when people are not going out as much so that they get into a relationship.
They get shacked up, yeah.
They don't want to be lonely.
Not to be confused with this. I think this is the favorite term I ever came up with, and I will fight anybody who says that they came up with it before I did. Is the term homosexual, which is a person who gets into a relationship to keep from being homeless.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we all know what DTF means, right? Yeah. Unless if you live under a rock, you know what DTF means. But do you know what DTR means?
I'm gonna go with down to relationship.
Nope, it's define the relationship. When you have to have the talk, it's the DTR.
So, and honestly, like, I think I get it because, and in fact, my buddy Eric posted a beautiful post about this today on Facebook. And he was like, look, I don't know who needs to hear this, but dipshit, you're not poly. You're just finally understanding what it means to be an adult that's dating multiple people at the same time, and being honest with all of them. And oh, by the way, monogamous people, it doesn't mean that anybody's doing anything wrong. Your ass is still probably going to get cheated on anyway. So I mean, it's the whole define the relationship, like what, and I get it because there are so many situationships where like one person thinks it's something that it isn't.
Yeah, that's true. That happens a lot when one person thinks it's more than something.
All right, so I really think this list, I mean, it's not that great. We all can, obviously, benching is when you put somebody on the sidelines. FBO, which is, honestly, it's obvious to me now, but I didn't know what that meant at the time when I saw FBO.
I would, friends with benefits only?
No, it's Facebook official.
Oh,
We know what Netflix and chill means. But
can we talk? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's take 2 steps back. Can we give a little shout out to all the people that somehow, even during this quarantine period, are on the 4th love of their life this year. That are never going to meet anybody better than anybody else for the 4th time this year. That have found everything they ever wanted for the 4th time this year.
I know people like that.
Well, just
We
think of how
all
many
know
people
people
moved
like
in
that.
together, got quarantined, and it saved them a divorce.
and then the other way around.
Yes.
The relationship was great until we had to freaking buckle down together.
I always tell the story. There was a lady that I worked with forever ago when I worked for a software company. And so she was a developer. She worked in the office during the days, and her husband was a night shift manager at a grocery store. And they were together for like 10, 12 years. And then he got switched to days, and they filed for divorce 6 months later.
Wow.
Because they suddenly had a lot more time together and realized they didn't like each other anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Well, ouch.
all right, so do you know what it means to be thirsty?
I don't know. Are you friends with Facebook? Are you Facebook friends with Steph and watch any of her posts?
I guess I've never seen Steph say anything about being thirsty.
No. Steph doesn't. It's whenever she posts pictures of herself, like, oh my God, the thread that evolved when she was on the boat and posted a bikini pic. So much Sahara Desert.
Okay, so see here, so that made it sound like you were insulting Steph, because
Not at all.
Okay, no, I know, but let me explain. Because being thirsty is looking for attention.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So that's like backup, Dave.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
like
no,
being
no,
an
no.
attention whore.
No.
So
So
that's
that's
not what you're saying.
I see, and I disagree. That's not what thirsty means. Thirsty is typically guys, and it is typically guys that are on a girl's profile that are begging for attention and trying to be like oh my God, hey beautiful, hey whatever, hey this, hey that, and trying to get, because they're thirsty because they want to take a drink.
Okay.
That's
Okay, I can see your
see,
point of view.
that's what thirsty, like I don't know where you got that definition.
Well, it still is a form of wanting attention, though.
Yes.
It's the guys wanting attention that way.
From
Yeah,
but then
only website that I got this from. That's why I was cracking up.
Okay, yeah, then I will go fight that website for you.
Okay, so we know what deep like is.
No, I don't know what that is.
You don't know what deep like is?
No.
Well, Cass is in deep like with her husband.
so I said I was just gonna say that to him from now on. Instead of saying I love you, I'm gonna be like, I deep like you. It's just a step before falling in love. That's all.
Like, you like them, but you're not in love. But you're more than
You like them, but you don't love them.
Oh.
That's deep like. So yeah. So no, I absolutely love my husband, but I just still want to just mess with him and just say, hey, deep like you, baby.
This is another new word I use that I'm now calling Cass this. Cass is my meme mistress.
Yes. Yes, I carry on entire conversations with just memes.
Yep, there's
I mean, that's real.
it's an online way of flirting when all someone does is constantly tag you in relevant memes.
I don't flirt with you, though.
Me 100 times a day. She's like, look at this. This reminds me of you.
I don't flirt with you that way, though.
No.
But I do tag you. Yes, I'm constantly memeing everybody. It's just what I do.
Okay, and I know I'm gonna mess this up, but it's called phubbing. Do you guys know what phubbing is?
I like that one. Dave looks really perplexed.
Okay, so phubbing is when you are out on a date or with your significant other, but they're paying more attention to their phone than they are of you.
My marriage.
There's a term for that?
Yeah, it's called fubbing. So,
I'm gonna use that.
if we're out for dinner,
You need to fub off.
So I'm curious, how is it spelled? Because is it supposed to be like FB?
Nope, it's PHUBBING.
I just wonder if that became like if that comes from FBing, because like Facebooking.
Oh.
Like, hey, instead of paying attention to you, I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
Look at you adding on to the education.
Yeah.
I'm an entomologist, and that doesn't mean bugs.
You just always have 2 cents to add, Dave. Or a nickel. Sometimes a quarter.
I'd prefer it to be a penny.
Oh, snap. I think that was good, Dave.
Yeah, because you can't get one back from a teller.
Oh.
Hey, there's coin shortage, and it's mostly just
Don't
quarters.
eat it. No.
All right, so do you guys know what monkeying is?
It's when you try to have sex hanging off the ceiling.
Do monkeys do that?
I was like, is there a swing
In
involved?
trees. They do
Yeah,
it in
it's
trees.
kind of. It's when you swing from one relationship to another with no in between. You just keep.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Play in
Yeah,
the field.
dude.
So
I've had this
somebody
conversation with so many
monkey
people.
because you're just totally like just one relationship.
Well, that kind of goes with what Dave said about being in love for the 4th time this year with the
Right.
most perfect
Well, no, I
person.
mean, I've had this. I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with like people. Relationships are not apartments and houses. You don't have to have the next one lined up before you leave the one you're in.
Right.
Like that's not how that
No.
works. It's
It does
okay.
it does help to have, a booty call lined up if necessary.
Well, yeah, but a relationship, no.
No, because I've always said the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else.
Well, yeah.
True story. It works. Just saying.
I don't know. I've been
Prove
with-
me wrong.
too long. So the last one I'm gonna tell you guys is Gatsbying.
Yes, being.
Gas.
So I'm going to go The Great Gatsby, which means I'm going to go probably somebody who pretends to be like rich and famous and powerful, but isn't.
Kind of close. This one actually, I think that every single person on social media is guilty of at one time or another. I don't care how great of a person and how honest you are. I think you've done this. I know I have. But you post content on social media just to get attention from one singular person. Like, you don't tag them in it. You just post something onto your page just hoping that one person or that group of people or whatever sees that and then they read too much into it. But because
Yeah, I've done that once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
because-
hate
I'm
cats,
Yeah.
but
Not-
I know she likes kittens.
yeah,
Not even going to try to lie. Been there, done that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it. So that's
Well,
what
thank you for
that's
being
called.
honest, Dave. I think we all have.
Yeah, I don't care who you are and how great of a person you are. I think everybody is guilty of that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because social media is the devil.
How about
All right,
one more
so-
drunken confessions for the night?
Yeah, one more drunken confession, and guess what? Dave, it's your turn. I forgot to tell you for a toast. So you can
Oh
have a
shit.
toast.
Okay.
But after this drunken confession, when have you felt better than someone else? Like, when did you look at somebody and be like, I'm so much better than you? Anyone? Anyone?
Wait, what
Oh,
was
I
it?
was
I
gonna
mean,
let
I-
Dave go first.
I was gonna say I know I'm not a judgy prick, or at least I try not to be. But there were like I'm gonna go right back to if you're like in super deep love for the 4th time this year and it's September 2nd, yeah, I'm judging the ever living crap out of you, and you're just a trash human being.
A lot of confusion between lust and love with people.
Well, and hey, if you ever want to feel better than somebody else, just go to like the comment section on a news article, and you'll feel immediately superior to like 90% of the people that are commenting. It's just a thing.
Right. Honestly, I have a few people in my Facebook that come across as, and this is, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Women who try to come across as being that independent, successful, I've got everything going for me female, and posts like 5 selfies a day and talks about how great life is and how wonderful this is and how wonderful that is. And those are the people I'm looking at going, okay, I'm better than you. I can actually feel good about myself without broadcasting it to Facebook, without 20 selfies a day. I mean, once in a while when I'm feeling extra cute, I will do a selfie and post it on Facebook. And I always want to make sure I look decent. But there's a handful of women out there that just seem to need that constant reassurance, and it's always from men that reassure her. I mean, they usually have 1 or 2 female friends that'll get on there and be like, oh, you're so beautiful, but most of the time, you know, it is a male audience that they're seeking, and you can tell.
Because
That's so pretty.
Right, but you don't have to sit there and try to you know, come up with the next greatest philosophy to make yourself look like you're so smart or just so intelligent. That just drives me nuts, and I'm always like, yeah, I'm better than that. That's my little rant.
Is, when I see people in super nice cars, a lot of material things. I don't care if you're female, male, whatever. And you're showing off your belongings.
I am feeling personally attacked right now.
Well then, sorry.
It's like every "Don't Be That Guy" article we've ever written. If you think it's about you, it might be.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, their credit is shit.
Oh my God.
They're living they're like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Okay, so
and that's why I call it fake book.
Right. So I may have a 15-year-old car. I may not have the biggest house, but my bills are paid. I have a savings. I'm good. So that's the only time I'm really like, I'm better than you. You're not better than me type thing.
Right.
You're posturing like you're better than everyone. Like it's because I've seen those posts. Yeah, you're puffing, and I just want to take a needle and go pop.
Right. Right. Yeah. Let's see your credit cards, honey, and then we'll talk. That's how I always feel too, because I know my credit cards all have 0 balance. So let's see.
I have a lot of cool, expensive shit, but I know
how's your FICO?
$70,000 in credit card debt.
Jeremy, what about you?
When do you feel better? This could get scary, ladies and gentlemen.
What's the question again? I want to get this right.
When is the last time you felt better than somebody? He's like, right now.
When he was arguing with me about the 6% COVID.
No,
fuck yeah!
I can't believe how much wine this thing holds.
Facebook is a lot of times because you can sit there and throw blatant facts out there, and somebody's gonna be like, "That's not true." Like,
okay,
20 articles says it is, but because you just read that one article, you're saying it's not.
All right, so we are actually this is the longest one we've done in a while, guys.
Has it been?
Yeah, it's after 8.
Actually, no, we started late. We're only at 49 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
see?
we're right on time. All right.
Yeah, because of all the technical issues and all that shit. Yeah.
Does it just feel like it's taking forever, Amy? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this thing won't end.
That's what she said.
Oh man.
Well,
All right, I don't know what to do with this anymore. So I think we should just wrap it up.
Thank you for coming to the shit show.
All right. So here's the toast. When I want it awful bad. When I don't get it, it makes me really mad. When I get it, it makes me pretty frisky. Don't get me wrong. I mean a shot of whiskey.
Cheers, guys.
And on that note,
thanks for tuning in. Thanks for bearing with it.
join our shit show next week. Same time, same place.
We have no idea what we're talking about. So if you have a subject or a topic and questions and
Bailey, enough.
anybody want to borrow my dogs for next Wednesday. That'll be
Anyone
all.
want a couple dogs next week? That's fine too. Yeah, so give us if you have any suggestions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably be continuing our sex ed.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
And remember, folks, don't forget to pull out.
What the fuck?
And look both ways before you do.
Hey, everybody. Thanks
Sex
again for
education.
listening to our show tonight. If you want more information, you can find it at facebook.com/My Drunken Confessions.
Ooh.